Today, we're sailing Viking's iconic Rhine Getaway River Cruise. We're Allen and Gayle Giese, and we love to travel, looking for adventure wherever history, culture, and beauty come together. On this cruise, perhaps one of Viking's most popular and affordable, we span 4 countries, 8 days, and lots of unforgettable experiences. From the vibrant city of Basel, Switzerland, we'll cruise the Rhine north to Amsterdam, savoring local flavors, immersing ourselves in rich history, and experiencing all the warm hospitality that Viking is renowned for. So come with us, let's set sail and see why Viking's Rhine Getaway is a traveler's dream come true. We begin our journey in Basel, Switzerland, the farthest southern navigable point of the Rhine and where France, Germany, and Switzerland meet. Our first destination, Breisach, Germany, and the Black Forest. Perched on a hill overlooking the Rhine, the ancient town of Breisach has been a vital crossing point and fortification site since Roman times. In the Middle Ages, it was a key center for trade and commerce, linking regions across the Rhine. Today, its rich history is evident in landmarks like St. Stephen's Cathedral. Perched atop Münsterberg Hill, St. Stephen's has been offering stunning views of the Rhine River since the 12th century and offers impressive frescoes, intricate altars, and a rich medieval history. We had a wonderful time wandering through the charming old streets of Breisach at our own pace. But our adventure didn't end there. We also took part in the Viking tour to the Black Forest. The Black Forest is a picturesque region in southwestern Germany, known for its dense forests, rolling hills, and charming villages, and famous for its cuckoo clocks, traditional timber-framed houses, and rich folklore. Our Viking tour bus took us on a scenic drive through a few picturesque towns along the way to a tourist attraction deep in the region near the resort village of Hinterzarten. There we saw one of the world's largest cuckoo clocks, built in 1994. This impressive timepiece is housed in a charming, fairy tale-like cottage adorned with a clock on its facade and a balcony featuring dancing figures that dance on the top of every hour. Adjacent to this attraction is the Hofgutsternen complex. Here you can explore the Steigenhaus, which showcases original Black Forest cuckoo clocks and local craftsmanship. We also had the opportunity to watch a demonstration on how to make a delicious and authentic Black Forest chocolate cake. And speaking of Black Forest, it was time to actually see and experience some of the forest surrounding us with a short hike. We walked up from the Hofgutsternen complex, past a large aqueduct-turned rail bridge, and into the forest. Culturally, the Black Forest inspired countless legends, fairy tales, and folklore, many of which were popularized by the Brothers Grimm. These stories, rooted in the area's mystical landscapes, contributed to the forest's reputation as a magical and an enigmatic place. Furthermore, its pristine environment and rural traditions have preserved a distinct way of life, influencing regional architecture, cuisine, and craftsmanship. Today, the Black Forest remains a symbol of Germany's natural beauty and a reflection of its rich historical heritage. We've found Viking river cruises to be a refined and immersive way to travel and explore in luxury with a focus on history, cuisine, and beautiful scenery. The staterooms are roomy and comfortable with spacious private bathrooms with heated floors, which I love. As the ship glides along the picturesque river, you can enjoy vineyards, castles, and charming towns right from your own balcony or room. Up on deck, there are many more options to take in the scenic views, or just enjoy some time with friends. The dining is open, relaxed, and never formal, and the food is locally sourced and simply wonderful, with complimentary beer and wine served.
They have the best carrot cake you will ever have. Sounds good? Well, again, thank you very much.
And one of the great things about river cruises is when you dock, you're usually right in the heart of the city, since the city is built around the river. The next morning, we awoke to a thick fog with the boat tied to the dock in Kehl, Germany, just across the river from Strasbourg, France. The Viking agenda today starts with a bus tour of the Strasbourg highlights, followed by a walking tour of the Old Town and the La Petite France district. We found the bus tour to be a bit frustrating, simply because we wanted to get out and explore more in depth, rather than just drive by and glimpse. But we only have the morning, so I guess this is the best we can do. The walking tour through the Old Town was much more interesting and engaging. Seeing and being immersed in the blend of French and German influences, the half-timbered houses, the winding canals and cobblestone streets really made an impression on what it was like 500 years ago. But the highlight? Definitely the Strasbourg Cathedral. Strasbourg Cathedral, a Gothic masterpiece, was built between 1015 and 1439 on the site of a previous Romanesque church. Its stunning facade and towering spire made it the world's tallest building from 1647 to 1874. The cathedral has survived wars and revolutions, including damage from World War II. Today, it remains a symbol of Strasbourg's rich history and Franco-German heritage, blending Romanesque and Gothic styles. Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it continues to draw millions of visitors, all while remaining an active place of worship. The region around Strasbourg, particularly Alsace, has been deeply shaped by its wine culture for centuries. Alsace is one of France's most renowned wine-producing regions, known for its distinctly aromatic white wines, including Riesling, Gewürztraminer, Pinot Gris, and Muscat. So, when we saw the Viking optional Alsatian wine tasting excursion, we immediately signed up. The excursion took us to the Alsace winery, about 25 kilometers southwest of Strasbourg. Our tour guide was none other than Albert Satz himself, a 14th generation vintner who has just the right amount of egotistical wine snobbery that one would expect from someone who basically has wine in his DNA.
Wineries for 1576. I'm the 14th generation winemaker. This piece of wood is more than 400 years old, so just imagine America at this time. I love this moment. Well, it's not to say that you're young and we're old. We try to have as clean wines as possible. And when you have long vinification in oak, you have oxidation, sulfite headaches. So that's the reason why we work with stainless steel. Stainless steel keeps carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide protects the wine from oxidation. So we can have long vinifications with no sulfite.
Honestly, it was delightful and fun, and we'd strongly recommend it if you find yourself there. On the west bank of the Rhine is the quiet German town of Speyer, and thus begins day 4 of our Rhine River Cruise. Our shore excursion is the Speyer walking tour, and we met our guide, Nicole, ashore right next to our ship. Like every guide we've experienced on Viking cruises, Nicole was entertaining and without a doubt knows what she's talking about. The central focus of the tour was the Speyer Cathedral, located less than 1,000 yards from our ship, followed by a nice stroll down the Maximilianstrasse through the center of town. Speyer's Imperial Cathedral is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the finest examples of Romanesque architecture. Built between 1030 and 1061, it was the largest church of its time and served as the burial site for 4 emperors, 4 kings, and 3 empresses. Its massive vaulted ceilings, imposing towers, and its crypt make it an architectural masterpiece. The cathedral symbolizes imperial power and religious significance, drawing visitors for its history and grandeur. Back on the boat, we had the afternoon to sail up the river, relax, enjoy some time on deck, and take in the spectacular views along the Rhine. Before long, we were docking in Rüdesheim. In Rüdesheim, this evening we've scheduled the Viking optional excursion Dine in Rüdesheim. A cute little tram picked us up at the boat and took us to the Restaurant der Drosselhof, where we had a fun evening with many of our shipmates. Unfortunately, and I'm sorry to say, the dinner was not up to par, and we certainly wouldn't recommend this excursion, considering what we paid for it. Hey Viking, you can't win 'em all. Day 5 has us departing Rüdesheim shortly after breakfast for a chilly and breezy sail along a section of the Rhine that is just littered with castles. All morning we had breathtaking views of medieval castles perched on hillsides, each with its own rich history and charm. Our journey through the UNESCO-listed Upper Middle Rhine Valley, also known as the Rhine Gorge, revealed fortress after fortress, once strongholds for knights and nobility, now creating a magical, storybook landscape transporting us back in time as we glide through the scenic riverbanks of the Rhine. It wasn't long until we were docking in Koblenz, Germany, a picturesque city sitting at the confluence of the Rhine and Moselle rivers. Our excursion this afternoon is to explore the Ehrenbreitstein fortress. And remember when I mentioned that Vikings guides are always entertaining? Well, today was no exception, as our guide showed up in character as a 19th century gentleman guide.
I'm a Lieutenant Colonel of His Majesty's Corps of Royal Engineers, sent here on a clandestine mission of the utmost importance.
He was a hoot, and he gave us a pretty good tour. Our ship docked right next to the cable car that takes you up to Ehrenbreitstein Fortress, one of Europe's largest preserved fortifications towering above the Rhine. Originally built in the 11th century, it was significantly expanded by the Prussians in the 19th century, of which our guide was apparently one of the engineers. Although I didn't really believe him and just figured he probably just broken free for the day. In any case, the fortress gives fantastic views, has some cool museums, and some pretty good beer. We woke up the next morning just as we were docking in Cologne. Once again, Viking scored a choice docking space right in the heart of this beautiful city on the Rhine, just steps away from one of the most beautiful and magnificent cathedrals in the world, the Cologne Cathedral. Our excursion this morning was the Viking-led Cologne walking tour, and we had a wonderful, super informative guide who is an American living in Cologne the last 6 years, as that's where his wife is from. He had a neat perspective, clearly loved living in Cologne, and had tons of fascinating stories and interesting bits of information. But he really knew how to connect with this group of Americans following him around all morning. Bravo, Viking.
Now, we're used to this. We come from the United States, you walk into a bar, you say, what do you have on draft? What do you have in a bottle? What do you want? IPAs and pumpkin tears or chocolate double stout, whatever, all kind of crazy beers. That's very standard. But in Germany, especially in Cologne, this is an outlier. This is not normal. Usually when you walk into any bar in the city of Cologne, you're going to have one beer on draft. It's always going to be a Kolsch. Okay?
The tour ended at the cathedral, giving us the opportunity to explore it at our leisure, which we did. The cathedral is the largest in the country, and construction started in 1248 and took over 600 years to complete, all the while remaining true to the original medieval plans. The 515-foot tall twin spires can be seen throughout the city and make it one of the tallest cathedrals in the world. The exterior is adorned with unbelievably intricate stonework on a massive scale, while the interior houses breathtaking stained glass windows and an elaborate high altar. During World War II, the cathedral suffered damage but miraculously remained standing amid the destruction of Cologne. Today, it continues to be an active place of worship and a major tourist attraction, drawing millions of visitors annually, most of which showed up today. We had some time on our own after the walking tour and cathedral to just wander around a bit. Get some lunch at a neat little place our guide had recommended, see the chocolate museum, and take a nap so we'd have the energy we're going to need for our evening excursion, a pub crawl through Cologne. The pub crawl is actually a Viking excursion billed as Cologne's beer culture and dinner. We started off with dinner and a few rounds at Peter's Brauhaus, and after that, well, I don't really remember a whole lot, but it was fun, and I've got the pictures to prove it. We somehow got back on board before the ship left Cologne late last night, sailing through the night and arriving early in the afternoon the next day in Kinderdijk, Netherlands. Kinderdijk is famous for its iconic windmills, which were built all the way back around 1740 to manage water levels and prevent flooding. This UNESCO World Heritage Site features 19 well-preserved windmills, reflecting Dutch brilliance and expertise in water management. My excursion was to explore this picturesque landscape on an e-bike tour, led again by a very entertaining and outgoing guide.
That was 1430, very big flood happened. So then what we did, we built levees all around us to protect us from the water from the river that was coming in.
We effortlessly rode miles of scenic paths and wooden bridges, seeing firsthand the Netherlands' ongoing battle with water.
This windmill stands closest to the farmlands, and our farmlands here are about 2 meters underneath the sea level. So what we do with the first windmill, we pump the water up about 1 meter, 1.5 meter from the farmlands into this canal.
Kinderdijk remains a symbol of Dutch ingenuity and resilience, and I can't think of a better way or more Dutch way to see it than on a bike. We had a wonderful time on our Viking Rhine River Getaway Cruise. As the sun sets over the Rhine, we reflect on the breathtaking beauty, rich history, and unforgettable moments that made this journey so special. From charming villages and majestic castles to the flavors of local cuisine and the warmth of new friendships, every stop along the way has left a lasting impression. Thank you for joining us on this incredible adventure. Until we meet again, may the spirit of the Rhine continue to inspire your travels. Safe journeys, and see you on the next adventure. Here we are. Going on our first tour
I gotta watch my
off of
feet.
the Viking something.
Air. The Viking Air, the goddess Air.
Air.
She was a healer.
Great healer. And she rode into battle and killed people.
No, she did not.
Well, she decided who dies.
Well, that's true.